We live in interesting times. Today's stories. Remembering the victims of a mass shooting at a Montreal university. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau embarrasses himself at a NATO summit. From the Health File, medical drones carrying life-saving cargo. And a thin skin developed for cosmetic purposes may one day fix scarring. Picking up litter from the sea. Contrasting poverty in two parts of the world. We'll take you to the moon and back, right here on Earth. Jetman takes a flight. And a full sports package beginning with lacrosse action in Vancouver. We'll also learn about RJ Barrett's homecoming and the BC High School Football Championships. I'm Thomas I. Likeness with Eagle News, broadcasting from our Edmonton, Canada studio, bringing you stories from around the globe. It was just over 30 years ago that a crazed gunman murdered 14 women on the campus of Montreal's Polytechnic University. The victims were engineering students. The killer, Marc Lépine, said he was fighting feminism. Lépine gunned down 6 of his victims in a classroom. He then roamed the campus, killing another 8 women and injuring 14 other people. The rampage ended when Lépine committed suicide, shooting himself in the head. On the 30th anniversary of the massacre, 14 beams lit up Montreal's sky in memory of the dead. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau attended the memorial, and he told those gathered he will continue to combat gender-based violence. He also pledged to strengthen gun control and ban assault weapons and guns in Canada. A life lesson here for politicians. Whenever you're around recording equipment, assume the camera is on and the mic is open. Now, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau forgot all about that at a recent NATO summit. Trudeau, while talking with 3 other leaders, mocked U.S. President Donald Trump for keeping them waiting while Trump was holding a lengthy news conference. The exchange was caught on camera, which angered the president. Trump says Trudeau is insincere.
Well, he's two-faced.
Do you think that Germany is too naive?
And honestly, with Trudeau, he's a nice guy. I find him to be a very nice guy. But, you know, the truth is that I called him out on the fact that he's not paying 2%. And I guess he's not very happy about it. I mean, you were there, a couple of you were there. And
Trudeau downplayed Trump's response, saying the two countries have a strong relationship.
The relationship we have with the United States is an extraordinarily important and effective one. We have renegotiated NAFTA to be a better deal for Canadians, for Americans, and for Mexicans. We're moving forward on military collaborations. We're working together on the world stage on a broad range of things. And the relationship between Canada and the United States is extremely strong. And I have a very good relationship with President Trump and his team.
Back home, opposition politicians said Trudeau's gaffe will hurt Canada-U.S. relations. They're called dronoids. Now, these are special drone-like vehicles that can fly without the aid of a human pilot. They're made in Poland, and this one we're telling you about here is designed to carry medical and pharmaceutical cargo. The dronoids are still at the test flight stage. Soon they will ferry blood from a blood bank to the Institute of Cardiology in Warsaw. The drones will follow a route marked by radio beacons. Most of that route is over waterways as a safety precaution, so no one is injured if it drops out of the sky. The drones travel at a rate of more than 80 kilometers an hour, and with no risk of getting caught in a traffic jam, it's faster than an ambulance. In Japan, scientists at a cosmetic company have developed a spray-on skin. It's described as a moisturizing face mask. It's made of fibers, and these fibers are very, very thin. They're 1/100th the thickness of a human hair. Now, presently, this stuff is used for cosmetic purposes. Users spray the fibers onto their face using a special diffuser. A thin, translucent sheet is quickly formed. It acts as a greenhouse for the real skin below to soak up the moisture and still be able to breathe. The second skin can be worn overnight or peeled off after about a minute. The company says it hopes to apply the technology to the medical field. It says it could be used to cover scars or create an invisible medical patch. What do you do with your plastic waste? Sadly, many people just toss it, and this stuff eventually makes its way into the ocean. The problem of plastic pollution and its effect on marine life has prompted volunteers in Greece to do something about it. The Ionian island of Zakynthos is one of Greece's most pristine travel destinations. But like many tourist destinations, plastic pollution poses a grave threat to wildlife. Aegean Rebreath is a Greek organization formed to protect creatures in the sea from the waste. About a dozen volunteers in wetsuits and scuba gear are picking up the marine litter. Biologist Katerina Sagari says a lot of that plastic is eaten by fish and mussels.
Now, in Greece, we measure microplastics in fish and in mussels, and we find about 1 to 4 particles per individual in the individuals that have ingested plastic. And we find plastic ingestion in about 20 to 45% of the animals we have tested, depending on the species and the area where it was collected.
Sagari says steps must be taken to control marine litter. George Triantafylidis of the Hellenic Center for Marine Research says people have to change their lifestyle when it comes to plastics.
I believe that everybody should change its habits, so we don't have to use single-use plastics in our daily life. We have to do a small revolution inside ourselves first. This is very important, and as there are significant European initiatives for the combat against plastics, I think we have to follow as a country and as individuals.
It's estimated that more than 11,000 tons of plastic from Greece end up in the sea every year. Up next, how poverty affects people in 2 very different parts of the world. To the moon and back in Vancouver, the Jetman races a car. This is Eagle News. You're watching Eagle News. Poverty is a worldwide problem. In these next 2 stories, you'll see a contrast between conditions in Egypt and here in Canada. Although the circumstances are different, the people caught in these economic black holes still suffer. This is what things look like in the remote Egyptian village of El Nahaya. Now, the name El Nahaya sounds very much like the Arabic word for the end. And sadly, this is fitting for the grinding poverty endured by most of its people. Egypt has suffered years of political and economic turmoil since the 2011 Arab Spring. 1 in 3 Egyptians struggles to survive below the poverty line. The mayor of El Nahaya says officials from the Decent Life Initiative visited his community. Gamal Thabit says they inspected homes, reviewed the demands, and sent them to charities. Then the charities arrived, but Thabit says so far nothing has changed. Here in Canada, we also witness poverty. Some will say not as bad, but nevertheless, it still impacts people here. In the country's largest city, Toronto, poverty affects thousands of people. The North York Food Bank says 1/3 of the people they provide food for are children. 1 out of 6 children in Toronto goes hungry once a week. 40% of their clients have a long-term disability or illness. In the Greater Toronto Area, last year, there were more than 1 million food bank visits. Eagle News correspondent Angela Milano tells us about a church group that has joined in the fight against hunger.
Saturdays are typically a non-working day for Canadians. Nevertheless, any day is a good day to give, share, and help those who are in need. Members of the Church of Christ in Greater Toronto Area, in behalf of the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, gathered together Saturday to bring food donations to the North York Harvest Food Bank in North York, Ontario, Canada. This drive was a result of a month-long campaign by members of the Church of Christ, led by their district supervising minister, Glendo Baitan. Members gathered 100 boxes of food and multiple sacks of rice to be donated to those who are in need in the city of Toronto. North York Harvest Food Bank's Director of Development and Marketing, Mr. Henry Chiu, accepted the donations and gave them an overview of how food banks operate and how the food is organized and distributed.
We're just super excited, so glad to see the congregation on behalf of Felix Y. Manalo Foundation bringing in so much food, especially as we're getting into the holiday season. The food is so much needed for the 24,000 members in the community that require food assistance. Normally we open on Monday to Friday, but especially our warehouse, but Felix Y. Manalo Foundation has been a great supporter of ours for quite a few years. It only makes sense for us to just be here to not only accept the food on behalf of our clients, but want to say a thank you to those who participated in this food drive. North York Harvest Food Bank is not government funded, so we rely solely on the community support, whether it's money, whether it's food. It's the donations that we bring in that we can distribute to our network of 40 agencies across the Northern Toronto area. And as mentioned last year, we served about 24,000 people.
This is to further educate the community on what happens after a donation has been made to further encourage others to do the same. It is truly important and beneficial for nonprofit organizations like the Church of Christ Felix Y. Manalo Foundation and the North York Harvest Food Bank to maintain good relationships as they continue to keep working together in reaching out to those in need.
Support from Felix Y. Manalo Foundation really serves 3 purposes. Number one, you're helping us last year raise some funds, and every year you raise food. As a non-funded agency, knowing that there is an organization year in and year out, there's some support coming, it's so huge in our planning. And of course, the money and food actually gets to our clients, so that's number 2, that's equally important. But the third thing is allowing the community to understand that food bank clients require your support. And that message in terms of spreading to the community and letting people know that, hey, there are people out there, they work hard, but because of unfortunate circumstances that they require to come to a food bank for emergency food needs, there are other people that actually cares and provide support. I think that is so important.
From Toronto, Canada, this is Angela Milano for Eagle News.
Something different now. Eagle News correspondent Kathleen Cruz takes us to the moon and back without even leaving Vancouver.
Are you ready to be visually amazed? With colorful lights, infinity rooms, and optical illusions that will definitely blow your mind. Here comes the Moon and Back Gallery. Metro Vancouver opens the door to its newest and first ever visual infinity and mirror room. Photo enthusiasts, social media influencers, and art lovers, get your cameras ready as we tour the 2,000 square feet space of the Moon and Back Gallery with one of the owners, Shelley Liu.
We have 10 sections installed with different things, different cool visual immersive arts that people can be part of. And, you know, they come in here and they become part of the art.
Be creative because the gallery offers unique rooms so you can score amazing pictures and videos.
So this is our infinity tunnel, and we have the double-sided mirror to create a feeling that this tunnel is never ending. So this room is like an infinity forest, like a red forest, are designed by different local artists, and this one is definitely by one of them as well. Just the plain red color, but also it's like coming very strong when it's on photo and or on videos. It's more artsy. So this is our 2D hand-drawn comic room, and this is also by another local artist, and she painted this room for a month and for it to come together to give people a feeling that they're living in a 2D world. So this is our rainbow alley. So we paint all the walls to different colors. It starts with pink and orange and green and blue and purple. This one is just like more meant for a colorful experience and decorated with all the neon lights. So this is a mirrored space, and we wanted to create like stars and like to make people feel like that they're outer space, linked back to the name of our gallery. So we wanted to create like an outer space sort of galaxy kind of feeling.
It's just amazing. It's just because there's a lot of influencers and photographers that take pictures of your gallery, and when
Yes.
they see that in Instagram or in Facebook, they are inspired to actually go into your gallery. Right?
Yes,
So-
definitely. And we have amazing artists coming in to visit our gallery too.
This new exhibit is open all year long so visitors can explore the rooms at their own pace. Here is why the gallery is called Moon and Back.
We named our gallery Moon and Back because we wanted to give people a feeling that they're in a completely different world, a new world of art and lights, and we wanted to give them an experience that it's bringing them to outer space, to the moon, and then they're back to reality.
From Richmond, Canada, Kathleen Cruz, Eagle News, 1 with 25.
His nickname is Jetman. No, he's not a superhero. 54-year-old Yves Rossi is a Swiss aviator who straps on his jet-powered wings and soars like an eagle. Rossi has flown over some of the world's most awe-inspiring places, including Japan's Mount Fuji. His latest flight was in Dubai. Recently, he went head-to-head against a car, the car driven by Formula One star Martin Brundle in the Dubai desert. Now, to take a flight, Rossi dives out of a helicopter at about 800 feet. He's got his 60-kilogram kit strapped to his back. Flights, they last about 10 minutes. Rossi has soared as high as 12,000 feet, cruising speed 250 kilometers an hour. Up next, a full sports package, basketball, lacrosse, and junior football. You're watching Eagle News. This is Eagle News. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. A hometown welcome for Toronto favorite son R.J. Barrett, even though he plays for the rival New York Knicks. Eagle News correspondent Zarita Dimakalangan profiles this rising NBA star.
The Toronto Raptors ended the month of November by taking on the New York Knicks in a game that was circled by many Canadian fans as a key game to watch. Mississauga's own R.J. Barrett made his debut in front of a Toronto crowd that, not many years ago, he was a part of. 19-year-old R.J. Barrett was born and raised in Mississauga, Ontario, a city which is the home of the Raptors G League affiliate team, the Raptors 905. Barrett attended Duke University alongside first overall pick Zion Williamson. While at Duke, Barrett was able to play and start in 38 games for the 2018-2019 season before he declared for the 2019 NBA draft. Barrett's dream to play in the NBA came true during the 2019 NBA draft, where he was drafted 3rd overall by the New York Knicks. Since logging his first NBA minutes at the start of the 2019-2020 season, Barrett has averaged 14.4 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and is shooting 39.6% from the field. Not only is Barrett making a name for himself, but he is also instrumental in building up basketball in Canada. Barrett is seen as an inspiration for other Canadian-born players to embrace and represent where they came from. During Barrett's media scrum prior to his Canadian debut against the Raptors, he announced that he will be playing for Team Canada in the Olympic qualifiers this summer. Not only are more and more Canadians entering the NBA, but notable players have joined Barrett in representing Team Canada, such as Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the OKC Thunder, Nickeil Alexander-Walker of the New Orleans Pelicans, and most recently, Kelly Olynyk of the Miami Heat. In the 126-98 loss against the Raptors during his homecoming, Barrett was able to contribute 16 points on 5 for 17 shooting and 5 rebounds in 31 minutes. With his promising future, the New York Knicks are looking to Barrett to help turn their franchise around. Be sure to tune into EBCSI to follow RJ Barrett's journey as he finds his way in the NBA. From Toronto, Canada, I'm Zarita Demakalanga, Eagle News, 1/25.
In lacrosse play, Vancouver dropped its home opener to Calgary. With the game highlights, Eagle News correspondent Anthony Sevilla.
The National Lacrosse League officially kicked off its regular season at Rogers Arena in downtown Vancouver as the defending NLL champs, Calgary Roughnecks, came into town with a 12-7 win over the Vancouver Warriors. The reigning NLL Most Valuable Player, Dane Dobbie, has played particularly well in this arena, who scored 4 goals in his last trip to Vancouver. He led the Roughnecks in scoring with 3 goals and also an assist.
The Warriors were slow to get the ball rolling in their season opener. They found themselves down 4 goals to start the game before sinking the team's first. Vancouver hit the iron 4 times before scoring the second goal to cut the lead to 2. Dane Dobbie took advantage of a Warrior turnover, which resulted in a breakaway goal and the point in the game that the Roughnecks pulled away. Calgary would be up 11-6 in the fourth quarter as Vancouver would eventually find the rhythm. However, the Roughnecks held on until the final buzzer to defeat the Warriors 12-7.
You know, I think it was all in all, it was a good start to the season for us. We came out here, we got our 2 points that we needed, and we got our legs going. So Vancouver's a tough team to play in their barn, so we got what we wanted out of it. A lot of his teammates, guys sprinting to the bench, get me off the bench to get clear-cut breakaways, and I'm supposed to put the ball in the net, so that's my job. You know, tonight I got a few early, and maybe it got us going, but all in all, it was we start from our goaltender out, and I thought everybody played a good 60 minutes, and we can learn from it, and we can build from it, and move on to our home opener.
Warriors forward Logan Schuss gave credit to the defending champions and talked about Vancouver's slow start in the game.
Kudos to them. I mean, they're the defending champs for a reason. They got a great defense, a great goalie, and we saw that tonight. We love going to battle against them. You know, they're a great team, and we got to give it our all this entire game against them. So, they came out, they won this time, and we're going to see them again. You know what? We started finding our rhythm at the end. We just didn't find it early enough, but once we got on a roll there, we had a couple goals. We had a couple of power plays that we just hit pipe after pipe after pipe, and that's frustrating. But that's a pipe's still a miss, right? We got to correct that. We got to get inside a little bit more and finish those. Play a full 60 minutes. I mean, as cliche as it sounds, if you don't in this league, even if you're not playing sound defense, you might not score every time, but make sure our defense makes those stops and give us an opportunity to put the ball in the net.
With 8 new faces to the lineup, the Warriors look to emulate their opponents to try and build a championship culture back into the locker room. Chemistry was definitely not an issue for the Calgary Roughnecks, who brought back all but 3 players from their championship run. Calgary will look to use their Week 1 momentum as they continue to defend their NLL title and repeat as champs once again. Both teams will meet again in Week 18 in Calgary. Anthony Sevilla, Eagle News, always 1/25.
The BC High School football season is over. With a look at the final tournament, Eagle News correspondents Anthony Sevilla and Zolti Horvath.
The 2019 Subway Bowl, or the BC High School Football Championships, officially came to a close at BC Place in Vancouver, which featured some of the best high school football players from all over the province of British Columbia. I'm Anthony Sevilla, here with fellow Eagle News correspondent Zolti Horvath. Plenty of exciting football throughout the entire day, which started at the junior level. Windsor defeated Bolinas 25-14, and Mount Douglas finished undefeated for the season after defeating Lord Tweedsmuir 41-14. So Zolti, out of the two junior varsity games, who stood out to you the most?
Definitely has to be Windsor quarterback Alex Garagoshin. Had 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Definitely was unstoppable today, came ready to play in this championship game.
We spoke with Duke's quarterback after the game, and this is what he had to say.
It feels great. It feels really good. Just because of last year, when this is just redemption year. We played all year. We played hard all year, practiced hard all year. Our team executed, and we won the game here. We had our ups and downs. Practices were hard, games were hard, some close games, and at the end of the game, we pushed through and won it. It just feels great that everything's over and that we've played this hard and got what we deserve.
Moving on to the varsity level, the Vernon Panthers defeated the Langley Saints 41-14. Who was the X factor for Vernon in this game?
Definitely had to be Zach Smith. 6 total touchdowns, 3 passing, 3 rushing. Absolutely unstoppable. Looked like a young Lamar Jackson in this game today. And even after the game, right when we were about to interview him, a college scout came up, gave him his business card, told him to come see him after our interview. Pretty cool experience.
Oh, it feels great to end on a win. Our last high school game ever to win 3 years in a row now. So it felt great to do with the grade 12s. This game right now, the feeling, you know, when last couple seconds when the time's taken down, just celebrating with my guys.
I think Zach took what they were given. So early on, I wanted to take a shot over top because we weren't aggressive enough early on last week, and so I wanted to take a shot. Caden made a great catch, and I think that set the tone. After that, they were worried about us going deep, and then we started picking apart the curls and the hooks and the flats and all those things that kept them unbalanced.
In the AAA varsity game, the Vancouver College Fighting Irish crushed Lord Tweedsmuir 45-0 in a rematch of the 2017 AAA JV Finals. What could Tweedsmuir have done differently in this game?
You know, I talked to one of the Tweedsmuir coaches after the game. They told me their entire game plan was to stop number 2 Deshaun Johnson. That guy was the MVP of the entire season, had 1,500 yards rushing, 25 touchdowns on the season. They definitely stopped him, but they forgot about everyone else on the Vancouver College team. Jason Soriano scored 5 total touchdowns, which is a new BC High School Championship record. He had 3 receiving touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and a pick 6 to earn game MVP.
You know what? It's just that mentality. You know, it's your last game of your high school career. You know, you want to end it off strong, and I think we all did that today, not just me. So I'm really proud of everyone. We remember what they did to us 2 years ago. We remember the score. We remember how many guys we were missing, how many guys we had injured. And we knew that we were just a completely different team and that we were just ready to just take it to them. And we know at the varsity level, that's where it counts. In JV, it doesn't really matter. But at the varsity level, we knew we had to win this game right here. We had to make a statement to them, and I'm really proud of us.
So Zolti, what's the biggest takeaway from the entire Subway Bowl?
Definitely has to be the talent at the high school level in this province. You know, in the past, we've sent Chase Claypool to Notre Dame, which is an NCAA school. But other than that, there's no big notable names that have gone to the U.S. to play football. A lot of the local talent, they stick around. But let me tell you, there were so many scouts in this building tonight. You're definitely going to be seeing some of these guys down south in the NCAA, or at least playing U Sports on the East Coast in Ontario.
That officially ends the 2019 BC High School football season. From BC Place Stadium in Vancouver, this is Zolti Horvath, and I'm Anthony Sevilla, and we're always one with 25.
That's this week's Eagle News. Join us next week for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenews and on Facebook at facebook.com/Eagle News. Thank you for watching. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. I'm one with 25.